What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. We are live. And wow, I can hear myself. But that's cool. Hey, welcome to the show. It is Monday night, and we are here with another episode 23 of Air Marshal Mondays. Welcome to the show, guys. Shadow Ops, David Snyder. Hey, good to see you. Welcome to the show. I don't think we've had you in here before. It's always good to have new folks. Just gonna go up and check out the chat. We had Skyblazer RC in here an hour early. That's anticipation right there. Dave's RC was in here an hour ago too. Maybe he's still here lurking around. You never know. Farmer Man, good to see you. Furball, Dave Kowishki, good to see you. Spencer Keith, George Watts, welcome to the show on another Monday night. And this Monday night, it's it's kind of a somber one for me. I follow all of the North American demonstration teams, and for you guys that are subscribed to the channel, I assume that most of you are, you've already seen, or if you haven't seen, we're going to play it here in a little bit, but one of the Canadian Snowbirds crew members lost their lives yesterday in a crash in British Columbia, up in Canada. And it's sad because their mission is to, raise the spirits, especially these missions from the Blue Angels, the Thunderbirds, the Snowbirds over the last month have just been to raise the spirits of, hospital workers and essential workers that have been out there. And, for one of the crew members to lose their lives in a crash is really tragic. And, I made a tribute video that I'm going to play for you guys here in a second. But before I do, I just want to say to Captain Jennifer Casey and to Captain Casey's family, God bless you. And I'm going to go ahead and play the tribute video for you guys that have not seen it. And hopefully you guys were able to hear the audio, but we are back with our special guest for the evening, Pilot Ryan. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. And it's, just to comment on your tribute, good job. And it's always sad. These folks are, they're like heroes. They're larger than life. They're inspiring. They're doing something wonderful. They love this aviation, and they're very special people that do these things. And my condolences. And the way it works with air shows is the show must go on, and it will. But let's stop and pause and prayers to the family. So good job, Dave.
Thanks, man. And I wanted to comment on it a little bit. We're not going to show videos of the crash because it's emotional for me. Anytime I watch something like that, whether that's a Thunderbirds. I mean, anytime a life is lost, it's tragic. But in the footage that I have seen, it looks like the airplane, just after lifting off the runway, it sounds like the engine blew, and the pilot gained altitude and attempted to recover, and it looks like the aircraft just stalled out and they ejected, and unfortunately Captain Jennifer Casey did not survive from the ejection, and it's just a really, really sad day for American and Canadian aviation, and may she rest in peace.
Yep.
Something else I wanted to say, if any good can come out of anything like this, outside of crash investigations and all that stuff, one of the things that I like to remember is that, few of us get to really pursue our dreams. We dream about being a pilot. We dream about being a race car driver. We dream about doing, these crazy things that just seem like they're beyond reach. And, one of the things that I take away from this is that Captain Casey, she died living the dream, truly living the dream. And that's awesome. So, salute to her, and God bless her family and her. And so, sorry, man. Sorry it started off on kind of a sad note, but let's talk to Pilot Ryan, guys.
Life is real,
Yeah.
Life is real, and it's fragile, and it can go quick. And my grandfather, probably early on in his life, he wouldn't have said the same stuff, but later on in his life, he made sure every time we talked, he told me this in so many words. I won't say it as well, I'm sure, but you better do the things you want to do in your life. Handle your business, take care of your responsibilities, but do the things you want to do. Go for it. Try, fail, succeed, whatever, but do something besides watching everybody else do.
Right.
Because sometimes you make it. And if your eyes are on the prize, and maybe you never hit the prize, but talk about the journey kind of stuff, you still went somewhere. You may not have ended up where you wanted to, but you still did have that ride, that journey, all that good stuff, and you were proactive. So it's all still progress. It's good, and you live for your dreams, chase them, but be content on that journey, because if you're all about that prize, you won't see everything you passed on the way.
Right.
So anyway,
Right. Even if your wife says no more planes, buy one more plane.
if your wife says no more planes, start a YouTube channel, chase down magazine people, like
Yeah.
work it out. And then make it profitable enough that she has to leave you alone because you're going to get her new couch and stuff. I don't know. I know this is what I hear. I know a guy. He says that's what he does. So, yeah.
I think I might know that guy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say thank you for George Watts. George, you just made a PayPal contribution to the channel, man. And we love you. And thank you week after week for doing that. We certainly appreciate it here. And You know, for anybody else that wants to make a contribution to the channel, check out the ticker going through the chat there on the bottom. There's a link you can go to there if you want to make a contribution to the channel. We certainly appreciate it. It all goes back in, so and allows us, you know, to continue to make awesome content for you guys. Speaking of awesome content, I've seen some pretty awesome content recently coming from this place called Pilot Ryan Media YouTube channel, and somebody's got them some coffee cups. Somebody might have more than one coffee cup tonight.
I make a lot, and so these are more like regular size than my big one, so I've got two. But yeah, you know, every now and then I try things out, and I wanted to on the content tip. Yeah, by the way, these mugs are fun. It's so nice to make designs and come up with ideas and work with people in the community that I've worked with and make things happen. It's hard to do it all by yourself, so you have to reach out, and the community is amazing, really, all through the ranks. There's some that are really close that I rely on a lot for things, but yeah. So starting Thursday, so far, I don't usually do this much, but I wanted to kind of see what would happen. And I don't know how long I can keep it up, honestly, but I have put out a video every day. Not to pat myself on the back, but
it's been cool, man. I've certainly noticed.
Yeah, thanks. And I don't really count the live streams in a way, but George, I'll totally make a Hanger Rat mug tonight. I don't usually count the live streams, but if you do count the live streams, I at least put out 8 videos a month. If you don't count the live streams, I at least put out 4. It's usually more, and depending on releases and things like that, I mean, every time I've done a Horizon release, I've tried to do a few releases. Sometimes there's a build, an unboxing, a shakedown, and another flight, as well as like another Thursday stream. So, I mean, it's actually not, it doesn't feel that crazy doing it every day. And I want to see what happens. I have plenty of content in the backlogs. I really do. And I'm, of course, game to go make more all the time, if time permits. So we'll see how it goes. I think I'm shooting myself in the foot kind of sometimes on videos that are doing well when I release something else. And I know when I throw a truck video in the mix, it's going to do completely poorly compared to it's okay though, but compared to the rest of the things. I mean, I tell you what, the community responded big time to the big T33 and the little Viper. You know what I mean? And the Timber X, of course, new release is doing fine, but it's also a re-release, so it's not quite the same as like the P51D is looking at, the shakedown's looking at 80,000 views, for instance.
Wow.
I didn't notice that till today when I was grabbing some of my
your old
links
tags.
And well, yeah, for real. Like I've already done the work, so I go grab my old tags and links and descriptions and stuff, and I put them in the new one for the Bobby K thing that just released before your show. But yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do, see how long I can go before I completely hit the wall, I guess.
Right. So Bobby's not here to say it for himself. Was he flying the P51?
Yes.
How did he like it?
I was filming. I mean, he loves it. But it's so funny, you can tell. And I can't wait to get mine back out. I wanted to bring mine out that day, and I was so glad Bobby had his. I actually should have just borrowed it because I wanted to fly it too. But I you know, if I mess one up, I want to mess up my own. But I'll put it like this: you know, we work these planes, and Bobby likes them enough. He ends up with them too. You know, we worked up the P51. He had to get one. We worked up the T33. His shows up like today.
Right.
There's some of these things that he'll end up getting too, but yeah, that was Bobby flying the P51. He loves it, and if you listen to us talking at the end of it, he was going for a 3-pointer. And I was like, no, Bobby, don't. Basically, they just Mustangs don't like them, and they take some work sometimes. I actually might try to put some softer tires on mine and see uh, what it does to tame it. But really, Mustangs, they want a two-wheel landing, fly the tail, and then pin it.
Right.
They've all been like that. And that book calls out for a down trim.
Right.
And it seems weird, it seems off, but when you watch how quickly that tail comes up and how soon that plane wants to get off, it makes a lot of sense that there's a little bit of down elevator into the neutral setting for elevator. And I think it's going to settle out the approach as well, because it does fly so good. But if the nose is up and it's wallowing around, it's even tougher to get in the groove of a descent angle and then bleed it off and just level off, and don't go for 3, go for 2. Like, if you want to know what kind of landing I'm trying to make, always look at my P40B videos if they're still out there. Those just settle in perfect for me. Level them off, touchdown on 2, fly the tail, just like I feel like I really own it. Everything's just right with the angle of attack and the weight and the descent angle. So that's what I'm going to really try to fine tune on the E-flite P51, because I really haven't flown it since I did the videos. And
Right.
I wasn't totally happy with my performance. I've always wanted to go back out and really just nail that bird on the ground. Flies amazing.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's my problem is I still have a lot to learn as far as taking off tail draggers and landing them and all that. But one thing that's kind of funny, you say that the P51 likes to land on two wheels, and especially with the elevator mix. That was something that I missed in the manual my first go round. So when I got the P51, the E-flite P51 in the air the first time, man, I had to put a lot of down trim in it. A
And it was
ton.
probably up before you were ready.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, so that thing was like just trying to go and go and go. And,
Yeah.
I had like almost, all of my trim saturated in the thing, just trying to get it to calm down. And then I looked at the manual and was like, well, damn, it tells me to do that mechanically if I'd have just read.
I know. Well, I'll be honest, it's one of those things where I saw it in the manual and I was like, surely not. And so I didn't do it.
Oh, and then you found out too.
And then I'm like, oh, I guess they mean it. But like, I don't know if you guys remember the E-flite F-18 video, but I did the shakedown where I think did a little talking head deal at the beginning or somewhere in the intro, and said what I did with the mix, because the book actually, I can't remember which way, but it was calling for an up mix with flaps on the elevator, and the numerical indicator plus or minus was wrong. So like if you did it like the book said, you would have had down, which is not what you want on that one. So I called that out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So things have been wrong. So what I'm saying is, there's not that there's a precedent for them to have incorrect manuals, but until folks get it sorted, and when you're some of the first guys with something, you do have to take everything with a grain of salt. And when you just know better, I've already flown the 90 millimeter F-18 and the FMS F-18, so I knew what to expect. Just like on the E-flite F4 in the manual, it doesn't call for an up elevator mix at all. But if you've flown or know anybody who has flown the Freewing F4, you'll know that there's a tremendous amount of up elevator required with flaps down. So
Right.
why wouldn't there also be with the E-flite one? So I actually made 2 or 3 or 4 videos on that bird, and one of them was tailored to 100% how I did and what my flap mix was, because guys love it. So yeah,
Right.
that's what's up.
Yeah, and I know that there's a couple of different trains of thought about flat mixes as well, because there's one crowd that says, I love my flat mixes, they help stabilize the plane, whatever, I can come down with my flaps, And there's another train of thought out there that says, you know, full scale airplanes don't have flap to elevator mixes. You know, what they do is they slow down the plane and then deploy the flaps. You know, and it's like, and that does work. You know, but you still have to have a little bit of elevator in it to get it to fly level.
It's true, but it's semantics because it's language. So instead of a mix, it's a trim,
Right.
right? Like if even when you slow down, the angle of attack changes to what is gonna bring a stall on. You trim down a little, and
Right.
we did this on the Musketeer with flaps in, even going slow. It wasn't like we dropped the flaps full throttle, Johnny. We
Right.
still trimmed in a little bit of down.
Yeah, you're
Um,
still, you know,
yeah,
operating the trim, you know, to get your angle of attack right. So,
and
you know,
actually, we did a touch and go on one of my lessons. Um, and the instructor had forgotten, so did I, because I didn't know. I'm waiting on instruction to roll that trim back to neutral. And so we take off, and it wasn't climbing like he thought it was supposed to. He goosed it. He got in it for a minute and got us up. But yeah. So this is an interesting one, and I always found it. Uh, it, it it stuck with me when I learned it. So like you just don't call them mixes; they're trims. So like on a Hurricane and probably a Spitfire, Hurricane in particular was like something like 6 degrees of right rudder trim, 6 degrees of right aileron trim to take that son of a gun off.
right, to
You know
counteract
what
the
I
P
mean?
factor. Yeah, yeah.
All that. So it's not a mix, but it kind of is. It's
Right.
just on full scale, you wouldn't call it that.
Right.
It's a trim to compensate for a condition.
Yeah, and typically in full scale, you know, because I have flown quite a bit. You know, you deploy the flaps and then you adjust your trim, you know, for speed and the angle of attack you want. And you know, with the flap to elevator mix, we're kind of preempting that. You know, where we're not really having to trim the plane because we've added the appropriate amount of trim, you know, as the flaps are deploying. So in a way, it's kind of better than full scale. It's a little easier.
You know, and it's just like guys will argue on expo or gyros if you should do it or not. I mean, you know, listen, um, you got to do what you want. For me personally, yes, I can cram if a plane needs down mix, let's say, because when you think about high wing trainers, they do, and that's one thing I want new guys to understand because it's not one size fits all. So we're talking about up trim on a couple EDFs, and I'm talking about down trim on a high wing Cessna. But I've also had warbirds that needed down, and I've had warbirds that needed up. It just depends on how everything comes together on that design. But my point is this, and in flight lessons and real life and everything, it's always hold it off, hold it off, hold it off. The stick is always in your gut. It's counterintuitive for me to push down, even though you can and you might need to save your life when it's a matter of airspeed and such. But like if you have a remote control that'll let you program it, why wouldn't you?
Right.
So if I'm flying something that needs a down mix, I'm going to put it in there and still fly what feels natural and intuitive to me. I don't want to have to push down stick to bring something in. And then when you need back pressure, you let off the down stick. Yes, that's the answer. But it's not you going to teach somebody how to fly that way? Or are you going to level the playing field, show them that their radios can do mixes and things like this? I mean, you don't want to complicate it, but these radios can do a lot of stuff, and it's okay. Or we would all be flying Kenny's craft or whatever. You know,
The one stick thing that you have to cradle like a baby.
come on, you got to wind it up. first.
You
Come on.
gotta feed the gerbil inside and get him to start, cramming on the wheel to get the generator running.
That's right, man. That's it.
Kenny with his archaic stuff. If you're in here, Kenny, no offense, buddy.
Oh, he still got his first all kinds of stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that makes someone have that's the collateral benefit of having experience is knowing how to read the language of a plane and giving it what it needs, whether you program it in or you just cowboy it in, learning what it needs so you can smooth out the approach and have a good time, man. Because we don't you want to buy another plane, not landing gear again?
Right. Right.
We've all been there on the landing gear again.
Yep.
It's nice to be able to not buy landing gear.
Yep. So it's funny in the chat, Ryan O, who watches all of our channels. He just
He's everywhere, man.
Yeah, he just said in the chat that he just had his first, dislike on a YouTube comment. I'm like, that's awesome. Welcome to the big leagues, dude.
Welcome. Oh my gosh. I was telling Dave, there was a thumbs down on my last release before there was any way the dude was even through a minute of it. It just went live. There was no way somebody had seen it.
That's your biggest fan, dude.
I guess.
The first thumbs down was by his mother. That's awesome.
It's all right.
So, what I wanted to tell you guys is the reason that we've got Ryan on the show tonight is, we do want to talk about airplanes. So before we get to what I was just going to say, I did want to ask you, the 50 millimeter Viper from Arrows, that thing looks great, man.
Dude, did you see the fun we had?
Yeah. That looks like a great little plane.
It's super fun. And I tell you what, I'm too busy, but I probably am going to cut in a rudder on this thing. Because all I wanted to do, listen, it flew.
Did you want a knife edge all day and it just couldn't do it?
Come on. Like I was giving it inputs it didn't have. But the winglets, man, I mean, I'm telling you, when you were cranking and banking this one, it felt very locked in and coordinated. It felt like you were coordinating your turns. I mean, it's got to be these winglets and just the Viper shape anyway, and these ventral fins, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was a good time. And I think, the one thing that'll give me an excuse to get it back out there is to cut in a rudder. And it's already got basically a panel line. Let's see.
Yeah, it's already there, man.
It's already there, basically. So you got to figure out where to put a servo in. And I'm not too
just tape it. Just put some servo tape on the horizontal stab, and you're good, man. Or just put it right on the vertical stab and run the servo wire. Don't even bury it. Just run it over the top and
outside.
Through the crack.
You could be sneaky with it if you wanted to model that much, or you could just go outside style. But I showed you guys on my stream, that's where the battery goes. If you're flying a 2200, there's room to move it back. There's room to move it up. So this will take whatever you want to throw at it.
So is the elevator servo, is it there just behind the battery? Is it in the back of the battery compartment?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, so you could probably put a rudder servo right next to it and just channel, bore a hole out.
Exactly. You just got to make sure your ESC actually lies in a void up top here. But no worries, just don't poke it. You got room to get by it. So you guys want me to put a rudder servo in this?
Do it.
I shouldn't ask if I don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, so that thing just looks awesome. Now, I don't know if you have any other 64 millimeter EDFs to compare it to size wise, but is it about the same size as like the 64 milli F16 and F15s, or is it a little smaller?
You know, it's probably it's I would say it's right in the ballpark. Like the same. Um Scale wise, it's probably bigger, but wing area wise, it's about the same because the F16 and F15, of course, have like more wing. But yeah, this I don't have anything else here. I,
Right.
I gave away a bunch of 64s at one of the last shows, I think. But
Yeah,
yeah, good.
I have this terrible habit of not being able to give away anything. Like if it's in my collection, it's part of my collection. I'm gonna be one of those old geezers that's got like 200 airplanes, you know, that I got to get like a storage shed just to put my airplanes in because I can't take
I'm
it. I
saying,
can't get rid of them.
I yeah, if I had to learn how to be able to get rid of them, or I would have had to have a warehouse.
Right,
Because man, I've been at it a minute.
right.
I mean, even years ago, there was like, holy smokes, and then uh, it wasn't always rainbows and butterflies. I mean, like I was getting rid of stuff to fund other things for a long time. You know what I mean? To stay in the new ones and things like that. Craig B, can I answer a question, Dave?
Absolutely.
Uh, Craig, how hard is it to remove the wings on the HSD T33 for transport? Thinking of pulling the trigger on one. Well, the easiest way to remove the wings is like a rolling loop. Um, you guys know what I'm saying, don't you? A rolling loop. Because at the bottom of that rolling loop, when you've bled off all your speed and you pile drive it, the wings will come right off. Um, but I would suggest just using the screws, which are very easy. They're metric. It's got the multi-port wiring, harness, the soft connectors. Super easy. You want to see a wing? Let me show you one real quick. Is that all right? Ah, timber. I mean, husky.
Ah, the other timber. What's up, Dave's RC? Hey, I see you in there, man, but I'm not going to interrupt Ryan when he's on a roll. Good to see you in here tonight, brother.
Lost you. Sorry. So what I missed, man, because I lost my ears.
I was just telling Dave's RC to, go suck an egg.
Screw. That's I mean, easy. No wires, no nothing. And you can slide it into the fuse with the gear tucked away like this. So, unlike some aircraft, you might have to drop the gear to do that. Um, it pins in here. This is all plastic. All this fairing business is plastic from the trailing edge to the leading edge up here at the front of the root. So yeah, you've got, of course, spar, the big soft connect here. Your screws come in from the top, which is great because the thing is huge. You're gonna flip it upside down to mess with it. You won't want to, not when it's together. Yeah, guys. I mean, this thing was epic, and I've got. So Bobby loved it so much he bought one, and um, these are not cheap. So yeah, I've got a couple flights from our first session from Bobby K that'll probably come out this week as well. And then I just put out another couple videos of this one a couple days ago that you guys responded to pretty well. Tip tanks, I just leave them on. Um, yeah, I've had no problems with mine. There are stickers that say "Inspect your junk,"
Nice.
uh, right? And mine. is a pre-production sample. This was the first one over here. Andy had this one first and flew it and got it dialed in, and basically made sure that his settings on turbine translated over well, and he liked what he had, so he could recommend it. So a lot of guys wanted to know what my rates were, and I never got around to it in the shakedown video, but I did put them. Actually, took a screenshot of my text message from him and put in the intro of my T33 video from just the other day. I still do have a maiden flight to show you guys on the motion one as well. But there's no comparison except they're both T33s. I mean, the motion one is zippy. It's awesome. It's a good time. I mean, no doubt. No doubt. And if the guy didn't offer me darn near retail, I probably keep it forever. But I got a big one, so I'm gonna get rid of it. But I mean, come on, I owe.
Are you gonna sign it? You should sign it and tell him that it's $50 more.
I'm not. Yeah, right. The guy's local. He's local. It's like, look, Sylvester Stallone's kid don't treat him like nothing but their dad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when the dude like flies at your field with you, it's no big deal.
Right.
So it's all right.
Yeah.
Like, what'd you ride on it for?
What's all this scribbling under the canopy?
What'd you do? Oh, it's my AMA deal.
Pilot Ryan.
Yeah, it's my AMA deal. I just had to say, it's so they can find me if I crash it.
Right. So I want to go ahead and get into, why I invited you tonight. I mean, certainly we'd love to have you every Monday because it's a joy to talk to you. So
nice.
What I'll tell you guys is, man, it's been probably back in December time frame. Ryan had gotten in touch with me back in December, to kind of say thanks for making a video that I did back then about the elevators on the Free Wing F-18. And
that's right. That was the first contact you and I had, wasn't it?
Yeah. And back then, that was kind of a big deal. I'm like, holy cow, Pilot Ryan, who I've been watching, for years, just like said thanks for making this cool video. And I didn't think much of the video, but apparently, some folks thought that it was kind of a big deal. And and then I was like, well, damn, maybe I should keep making, cool videos. And, at the time, Ryan and I, we had some discussions offline about not just making that video, but he kind of, inspired me into putting out the first AR-636 series, because he was like, dude, those how-to videos are your thing. And then I got, semi-decent at video production, and it's just kind of blown up, man. Back then I had like less than 100 subs, and we're like 40 away from freaking 1,000 now.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
What?
And it's super fun, man. It's not to use a lot of buzzwords, but it's the truth. I watched that, and somebody might have sent me a link to it. Actually, I can't remember if I stumbled upon it or if my buddy Mike Kennedy sent it to me. I can't remember, but there was a lot of talk about that plane's elevator and blue box and everything else. And I watched your video. You guys should watch it. I watched your video about you. Basically, I felt like solved it, at least part of it anyway.
Right.
And it made perfect sense what you had done to alleviate potential binding and stresses on that situation, that linkage, that mechanism, that movement. And I was like, man, that's cool. And yeah, I don't remember why I reached out other than to say like that was cool and good job and thanks, and maybe asked you, did I was maybe trying to figure out what threaded rod you were using or something. I don't really quite recall, but I thought it was super slick.
Right. Yeah, and since then, Ryan and I, we probably talk on the phone now, maybe at least once or twice a week, if not more.
Yeah, man.
And we've become friends, and we've figured out that we were both former Navy, and it's just kind of blossomed into a nice friendship. I mean, we've never met in person, but
Former
you
rock
know,
and rollers, former Navy,
yeah,
same age,
right.
basically. Uh, we're both complete tools, you
Yeah,
know.
and kind of complete tools,
Complete
and total
all of
nut
the tools.
jobs for everything that that we get into. Where I know that Ryan's like a total nut job for airplanes. I'm becoming a total nut job for airplanes. But the interesting part is that Ryan and I started on completely opposite ends of the RC spectrum. Um, where Ryan started out like as a hardcore aviation guy, and over these last couple of months has become just completely infatuated with surface stuff too, which I think is awesome. And my RC experience started back in like 1986, 87 time frame with surface vehicles. And I was a hardcore surface guy until about the same time. Well, now I've been doing aviation longer than Ryan's been doing surface, but my aviation thing didn't start until about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was from watching like Pilot Ryan and flight test videos and stuff like that, and really getting into. In fact, I want to say that probably my first jet was one that Ryan, like I'm sitting in Ryan's live chats when he first left Motion, and was doing the live streams every week. And I was like, and I don't even know if you remember back then or even knew who I was at the time, but I would
You were
ask.
you were just Dave Marshall.
I was just
You
Dave
didn't
Marshall.
you didn't have your. I swear I changed the name of the channel, and then everybody was like, "Oh, you can change your name," and it seemed like everybody changed their name. Like
Oh,
I
I
changed the
didn't.
name. I went from like Pilot Ryan and Captain Mike or whatever to what it is now, or I might even change it one time before that. I think it was still RC Air Training Command even. But
I
yeah,
think it
you all of a
was like your
sudden,
first couple of streams. Yeah.
yeah, man, and you were Dave Marshall forever. I didn't know you, and Jeff Mazzell was, Jeff's Custom RC now.
Right.
RC Weaver and FPV is Josh Weaver RC. There's a handful of guys that changed their name, yeah, all around that time. But yeah, you were always in the streams asking questions, I think.
Yeah, yeah, because at that time, and what's that been, 90 something weeks ago?
Yeah, yeah, man.
I was wanting to get into EDFs, like that's the whole reason that I started flying airplanes in the first place, was to fly, one of these big beasts that's sitting behind me, a big F-18. Like I love them. I was in the Navy, had to have an F-18, love the Blue Angels. Um, which interestingly enough kind of goes back full circle to the beginning of the topic today, with just loving the demonstration teams, the Blue Angels, Thunderbirds, Snowbirds, all of them. They're all fantastic. And I wanted to fly an F 18, because of my Navy background. So, I remember being in your chats and asking the stuff, and you went through your standard qualifier of questions,
Yeah,
that you do. And I was like,
yeah.
man, this guy, he's not just like blowing smoke. Like he wants people to learn, and he wants to give them good advice. And I've kind of taken that my own. But all of this comes full circle because it takes me like 27 years to tell a story. Um, that you know, Ryan kind of planted this idea in my head of making that AR-636 series, and really helped me promote it, and was pretty instrumental in launching this channel into what we've become. Because if you look at in every stream, I put a thumbnail up for the stream, and in the little corner it says what episode it is. This is only episode 23, guys. We're not even 6 months into this thing, and we're sitting at almost 1,000 subs, and that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing, and I have to get a lot of credit to Ryan and everybody else in the community who's kind of embraced what I'm doing, and shared it out and gotten people on board and watching. It's been awesome. So
I'll say this. It's not without merit, right? You put in the work, right? So there's something I saw there too. I mean, give yourself some credit, I hope, for sure. And thank you. But like, listen, I say this to all my YouTube buddies that talk to me about advice and stuff. And it doesn't really make sense, but chew on it for a minute. Especially when you're new, different is better than better. And most guys will not deep dive on tech and how-to videos. Most guys just are having fun and they're documenting their fun, and that's great. But not everybody's got the capacity to deep dive well, value your time, be concise and to the point, start you from one point and get you to the other, the end result. And so it was pretty obvious he could deliver on the F-18 linkage deal. And we were talking in one of these conversations. I asked some of these YouTube guys I talked to, I said, so the whole 5 years that I wasn't making videos on this channel because I was building brand somewhere else, guess what video always outperformed everything else?
Right. And I know the answer to this. It was the Expo video.
Dr. Expo, Captain Mike, the most boring, non-glamorous. You didn't get a free one. It ain't cool. You didn't write a letter home to mama, but the most helpful chunk of value bomb that you could drop on somebody. And the idea, and we kind of chewed on it, to demystify the AR-636, we just kind of bounced it around. And it made sense that you turned it into a lot of different parts. And I was like, this is the kind of series that I wish I had time to make.
Right.
Because I know how valuable it is because of my time on YouTube. And I know how many questions I get constantly, which is amazing. And I'm glad. But the only time it's a nuisance to get questions is when you can't deliver on them. So now when folks ask me AS3X questions, guess what? I got somewhere to send them.
Talk to that guy.
Talk to him, man, RC Air Marshal, because the guy has done it. I mean, listen, brand new channel doing a bang up job on how-tos, doing them well. Got YouTube down too. It's more than just making videos that work. It's also learning how to YouTube. And the dude has done it. And so I think you're welcome for shout outs and things, but you were already there. You know, you already had the good stuff there, easy to get in front and shout you out, because when people are exposed to you, they can learn something. You can come up next to them and walk them through what would normally be kind of scary with tech. And look, somebody's got to do it, and you're really good at it. So, I mean, it all worked out just right, and I think it's pretty natural for you.
Yeah. I really enjoy doing it, man. I have a love for for teaching and sharing. So when it came to the YouTube thing, it was kind of a natural fit, and that's where it kind of comes down to when it wasn't this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that. In the Pilot's Lounge, I don't know if you were just like looking at, like, while you're doing the show, if you were just looking at like the Horizon website while you're doing the show, and you found this Tamiya model and started talking about it. We were like, I need somebody to build this. So, I was like, oh, man, I love those things. So the same way when Ryan approached me about doing the AR636 series, I was so happy when he said that, because I was like, now we can do this this Karmagia, and in a way, it's kind of a way to say thanks for everything that you did to me, but kind of bringing in my experience of surface RC, and that kind of pivots us to kind of talking about surface. So I'm kind of watching the viewer count now. It's either going to go up or it's going to drop way down.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean,
So, when Ryan started talking about the old Tamiya models, and what I'll tell folks that aren't familiar with them is Tamiya models are a special breed, right? They certainly are not the top of any class of model ever. They are not out winning national championships. They're kind of their own niche thing. And the Tamiya models are awesome, man. When you put them together, the instructions are beautiful. It's kind of like getting a Lego set where it's got like this step, you're going to need all these parts. It lays it out for you. And then it shows you like a picture and sub-assemblies, like put all these sub-assemblies together, and then they all go together to make this. And it's fun, but every single part of that model, there is nothing that is put together for you. And it brings me back to a time, like to a nostalgia with RC, because and Ryan can attest to this, kind of being new to the surface world. One of the things that I was kind of disappointed, with getting back to the surface world was there's no more kits. There's a bunch, like I was kind of bred into, like I started back in the mid 80s building Tamiya kits. And then I very soon got into like the associated RC10 class of two-wheel drive buggies. But the Tamiya kits, man, they were the bread and butter. And there's just so many parts and pieces, and I loved it because you learn everything about the car while you're putting it together. You can't help but do that because
right.
Everything is separate. And they come on like everything is on like a parts tree, like an injected molded plastic parts tree, and you're clipping it out and sanding, and you're modeling.
Right.
It's building an erector set.
He's having so much fun with this one. It's like I was kind of scared to tackle it, but like I really can't wait to see it more and get it in my hands, because I do kind of want to try it. But yeah, I remember when you were buying and looking at these, everything's ready to run for the most part. And for me, it's awesome because, let's go.
Yeah, and I was like, why can't they sell the Creighton in a kit?
Yeah.
Like, I want to build a kit. But without, boring you guys to tears with, my history. And if you want that, like, visit Kenny on Thursday night. He'll teach you everything you want to know about RC history. But what I do want to do is I want to grab this little thing, because I have had a blast putting this little model together over the past couple of days. This is the beginning, the rolling well, not just the rolling chassis. I mean, this is the complete chassis for the Carbon Gia that Ryan and I are working together on now. It is a 1/10 scale long wheelbase Tamiya MO6 chassis, and this thing is awesome. We've done a lot of work to it. Right out of the gate, it was built. Rather than using, all the Tamiya models come with like plastic bushings and bronze bushings for certain areas that are higher friction, but it just doesn't roll very good. So one of the first things I did was, I was like, no, we got to get ball bearings throughout. I can't remember if it was myself or Ryan that made the suggestion, like, let's go smart all the way through it. We're going to stick with a brushed motor because that kind of, mates up with the nostalgia of an old Tamiya model. So this thing, it has an old school brushed motor. It's not old. It's a Reedy, an old Reedy. Reedy is a brand that's been around since I started in RC. Reedy Modifieds from Team Associated. So this is a Reedy 17 turn modified motor in this little bitty 1/10 scale car. It's got the Firma 40 amp brushed ESC receiver combo, which is awesome. You don't even need a separate speed control. Your receiver, everything's all built in one, so you just have one box mounted to the chassis. I have one servo plugged in, and we're running a high-tech 645 Metal Gear servo here for the steering, and that goes up here to my steering control.
Wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
And tucked up under here, we're running a 5,000 milliamp hour 2S Spectrum Smart battery. And of course, when you couple the smart battery with the smart ESC smart receiver going into my DX5C smart transmitter, it gives me all the telemetry that I would get from a new modern model with all the cool nostalgia of the Tamiya kits, with the very seamless power application of the with the brushed motor. So that's another thing that I have to say. The power application of a brushed motor, I've kind of forgotten how great it is, because a brushed motor can run at like almost nothing. You give it a little bit of power and it'll just creep along, where like a brushless motor, like it takes a little bit of voltage just to get it to start. So they're, once they're running, there's a little bit of a jolt there when you first crank up a brushed or a brushless motor. With a brushed motor, it's a much more linear power application. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you get your hands on this thing. Now, I have to apologize to Ryan. I'm going to need to buy some new wheels for this thing because
you've been burning it out.
I just had that one run yesterday, but the battery lasted like 20 minutes.
That's how Surface works, man. What is that? That's a 2S battery, isn't it? 3S? I can't remember what we got.
It's a 2S 5000 pack.
2S 5000, 20 minutes. And we did a little, so I'm pumped, man. So this is fully modernized vintage car, right. Bearings all around, transmission and all. And then here's the cool part. We locked the diff.
Yes, the differential is locked. So for you guys that have seen the video that were like, man, Dave can't drive worth a damn. That's
on
not
purpose.
True. This is set up to be a drift car. So we locked the differential. So you'll see, like when I turn, this, so I'm kind of turning this towards the camera. If you watch the other wheel, it's turning in the same direction instead of spinning in the opposite direction. The differential on this thing is locked, so it's a solid rear chassis effectively. So it has no way to reapply the power, like if it starts getting a little squirrely. So if you approach a turn it's just going to spin and spin, and that's all intentional. Now one of the other things, there's a couple of other upgrades that we're going to need to do to really get it drift worthy. And the first thing is these shocks that come with these Tamiya kits, they suck ass, and they always have, unless you get like the Tamiya Pro model. These things aren't, they're just springs. These shocks are, they're just a spring carrier more than anything. They're not oil dampened at all. They're just springs. So this thing like bounces and bottoms out. And, so the bottom of the chassis, unfortunately, has some some scratches and stuff
Hey,
in
you
it.
know what? That is exactly what you call street cred.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't get any more street cred than the street coming
Yeah,
up into the chassis.
right, right. So the shocks need to be fixed. And what I have learned, because I've never built a drift car before, is that the wheels and tires on a drift car, the wheels are pretty much like any other wheel, but the tires on a drift car are made out of like really hard plastic. They're not made of rubber. They're made out of I mean, they're made out of like PVC. Just really hard plastic. So they have zero traction at all, where you can just. So yeah, we got to get some drift tires and some oil shocks for this thing, and it will be ready to rock. And I'll go ahead and bring out the body. Actually, before I do that, while I've got the chassis in my hand, I want you guys to, just for some perspective, this is a 10th scale car,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah, let's see it next to the Creighton. Now the Creighton is one of the largest 1/10 truggies out there in the
This
market, by the way.
this is also a 10th scale car.
That's
Can you see
crazy.
that thing? I mean,
That's
here's
crazy.
this massive Creighton, a 10th scale car, and this little bitty baby 10th scale car.
Wow.
You can definitely get like some monster truck action, car crushing.
That's sick. But really, to its credit, the Creighton 1/10. That's why I bought it one,
That's
because it's
an
like it's
it's
a
an
killer
awesome.
value. It's a big 1/10 good value vehicle.
Right. Oh yeah, the Creighton is awesome. Um, so here is the body shell, right? So for those of you that have never worked with surface vehicles, the body of most of them is made out of Lexan. It's a polycarbonate plastic. It's pretty thin, because it needs to be able to like bend and get banged up. I mean, it's in an RC car. But this is a Carmen Ghia body, and it's kind of a skirt around it, so that'll be trimmed out. But I'm going to be painting this with my airbrush. And the only thing I want to tell you about the paint job right now, because that's kind of the bread and butter of this whole deal, is the paint that's going on this thing. Um, it's going to be black. That's all I can tell you. It's going to be black, and it's going to be awesome. And look at Ryan's hat.
I mean, we already told you the way we geared it up electronically.
Yes.
So I gotta say, Rabbit is the other fella. He's in the chat. He's got a lot of experience with these too. And he also, when I said that, Dave, that night, he also sent me an email right away about building one of these for me.
Right.
And so I think I'm gonna. So we're gonna I'm gonna send one to Rabbit, and full stock. What's in the kit? Nothing fancy. Just what it comes with, and then the super modified Resto Mod Dave Air Marshal car. So we're gonna put them up next to each other and just see kind of how they go, and I'll be tickled just to have one. I'm so pumped to get to have both of these, really, and I really intend on daily driver with the smart one. I want to wear some tires out, you know what I mean, and I want to drift outside. The guys who really drift, they do it on a smooth surface, or they go somewhere really it's destination to do that stuff with guys who take it usually too serious. I've seen guys race and I've seen guys do airplane competitions and all that kind of stuff, and just like parents with high school sports. and the older the kids get, the more serious it all becomes. I don't want it to get that serious. So I want to be able to drift around outside. I want to be able to play around with one that's just box stock, compare and contrast, and show both of these off. And then I think after handling them, I'll probably feel like I can take one on myself, because I think I need a bug.
Yeah.
I think I need a bug too.
Yeah, so Ryan, what I'll tell you, don't be afraid of it. You know, just kind of approach it like a Lego set. You know, because the direction. And let me go grab that real quick, and you can talk to the fine folks while I grab the instructions.
All right. But I've never done that before. I'm scared to talk to everybody. I'm just teasing. So yeah, guys, I mean it's going to be a fun one. And Dave's kind of taking some doing some documentation of his process, and then watch his video from earlier today or yesterday where he did a little test run of that car. And
It's a
man,
little ripper, dude.
it can zip. And I just got him this last week, and the son of a gun's got it together. I mean, it's like body time. We do have to source some tires and the shocks, and as soon as you figure them out, Dave, let me know. I'll buy them. Rabbit says I can do it. Yeah, I probably should. Maybe I'll just do it myself, Rabbit. Who knows?
So what I want you to see is, so here is part of the instruction manual, and what that's showing is kind of the parts trees, right? Just a display of what the parts trees look like and the parts that are on them. You just cut them out with some side cutters.
Yeah.
Maybe take a little file to it to get the burrs off, and that's just a small sampling. There's actually a lot more, but if we go back to let's this is, I mean, just as an example, step 11, right? I mean, it doesn't matter, but if you look, I mean, and I don't know if you can see that worth of crap, but
Yeah.
it over here, it's got like a list of the hardware that you need, and in the blown up display, it has like some sub assemblies. These parts go here like this, and then you attach those sub assemblies to the main assembly down here. I mean, it's all pretty. It's very well laid out. These Tamiya manuals are fantastic. I've missed them. So thank you for
Yeah, man.
for sending this thing over, because this has been a treat. Being able to build another one of these cars. It's been a lot of years, and I mean, especially with my state of mind the way it's been lately. I mean, without like being a big baby about it, I've been a little like down in the dumps because of the COVID-19 and losing my job and whatever. So being able to do this was like a cool pick me up.
Yeah,
and,
man.
And got me motivated again. And it's like, yeah, dude, this thing is awesome. It was a lot of fun to put together. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing the body. I mean, we're even getting Amy in on that because she's got some special talents that I don't have. When it comes to making like the masking and stuff for the logos that are going to be in the paint. And when you're painting a body like this, like I said, everything is going in from the inside. So you paint it here. You're not painting it on the outside of the body. It's not like it's super simple. So for all of the stuff that we're doing and the places that those things are going, we're basically going to have to paint all of the body and then paint the other stuff after the fact. So it all has to be like masked off. It has to be perfect. And then we paint it. It's not like we can go back and paint over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
you
if
got to
we
get it right the first time.
Exactly. I mean, it
Yeah.
has to be perfect the first time you do it, or you're done, right? So I'm looking forward to that. I've got all the paints. I even got some window tinting materials. This thing is gonna look slick, y'all. It's gonna look slick.
Let's tell them the other idea too. And we'll see if it can happen. I think it can if you want to bad enough. But you're the guy. So one thing, if you look, so I'll tell you firstly also real quick how I discovered the Tamiya kit on Horizon, kind of by mistake. So as you know, looking at Surface lately, that kind of thing. If you go to Cars and Trucks and you click featured brands, there's just a few of the big name brands. There's plenty, but there's a few of the big name brands. You won't find Tamiya and Red Cat and some of these other brands until you say show me everything,
Yeah,
or
show more. Yep.
basically, right, like all Cars and Trucks, or kits or whatever. So I'm just looking through everything, and that's where I got my Red Cats. I was like, oh cool, they're there. And then saw some other things, and then I've always loved the Carmen Gia. And then and of course I was noticing all the other Tamiya stuff,
So I'll be right back. You can keep saying what you're saying. I can still
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. Uh, so I'm just looking through everything, and I saw that Tamiya kit, and I'm like, wow. Uh, and it looked amazing. But the first thing I noticed on it was those stinking body posts coming up through the body.
Oh
And Dave's talking about all this kind of 3D stuff that he can do. And so I put Dave on task to create something that either slides in or over or around where the body posts go, that pivots so it can accommodate any MO6 body, perhaps. Pivots, has magnets on it, and then you glue magnets where they need to go on the body, and eliminate I mean eliminate those posts, those body posts, and those body clips. Now I know actually the FMS Jeep, I don't have it yet still, but the FMS Jeep has, I believe, that its body pins are out of sight behind a bumper, kind of underneath. So sometimes there's ways to do things, but I think it's worth looking at. And if we can make this thing uh, with magnets and 3D printing, I mean, this is 100% air marshal, vintage, time warp, jump to the 21st century. So I just think it's going to be really neat.
Right.
And I don't want to see those damn posts coming through it. After all this is looking so cool,
Yeah.
it's like when you have a plane and the canopy's a piece of garbage inside.
Yep.
It's like the
So
best plane ever, and then you got a super gatered like cockpit. It's like, come on.
here's the colors. They're Vallejo, Model Air in black, white, and orange. So you guys can figure it out. And I got some spray on. It's Duratex window tinting. So it's just a spray on window tint. So we'll leave the
Nice.
windows clear, and then after we're done with everything, we'll spray that in to get the windows tinted.
Man, so many of you guys in the chat are doing trucks or have done trucks, and I love it. David, yourself, I eliminated the post on my TRX4. Tactical with earth magnets, they are the jam. Other guys are using Velcro. Yeah, my Red Cat has Velcro, but also in the manual and in the body there are recesses for magnets. So that's like an option that they're talking about in the in the book. So I think it's possible.
Yeah, and that's what I was looking at doing, was creating some kind of
Shalosky.
Yes.
That'd be cool. We don't have to reinvent the wheel if there's already something out there that does
Yeah,
this.
if Proline makes, I'll check out the Proline line of products and see if I can find those body posts that he's talking about.
They
Because
probably got the wheels and the shocks too, Dave.
I've looked at Proline. I mean, you can get any kind of wheel you want, but most of their tires are rubber. And the shocks from Proline, you can get them, but they're like $70 or $80
They're
for the
salty.
set.
Yeah, for like a pair, right?
Yeah. It's like $40 for a pair. And we can talk about that at another time. I mean, I found some things that are more budget friendly where you can get like 4 or 5 sets of them and just have a bunch of spares.
Yeah, let's do it.
for less than that, but they may not perform worth a damn. So I mean, it's kind of the give and take of RC, if you will.
Well,
Um,
at this point, I figure we spend as much money as possible on this thing.
let's turn this $150 car into $1,000 car.
Man, I tell you what, it'd be cool to have somebody want to sponsor one of these things again. I mean, uh, I tell you, when we're done with it, it needs to be on the website landing page. I'm saying
Yeah, it'll be cool, man.
we need
If
to let Tamiya say, we'll put together a bundle. And Dave is going to link all this stuff up in his video for
Yeah,
this.
in fact, if you check out the video of the test run and look in the description, it's got links to the car, the transmitter, the receiver ESC combo, the motor we use, the bearing sets, the battery. I mean, everything is linked in there. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, go check out that test run video and check out the description. All the links are in there.
Yep, they're
And
Dave's. They're Dave's. Use them.
yeah, yeah, and that's the other kind of interesting part of it is, and I'm going to talk about it on. I mean, it's my show, so
Yeah.
so I want your click too. If you were inspired to purchase something through watching one of my videos, with the new Horizon affiliate program that I've been invited to participate in, which is awesome. I've got affiliate links now for Horizon. So, if you're looking at a product on, and watching one of my videos, man, support the channel. Use those links. I mean, we appreciate it. I mean, if Ryan sells you something, obviously use his links. But as more of us, YouTube creators get invited into these affiliate programs, I would encourage you to use the affiliate links for the people that got you interested in whatever product you're buying. So,
Yeah.
So that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. No, I mean, we talked about that before. It's like, yeah, it's all you on this one, and so kind of the plan is. I mean, obviously, we're talking about it now, which just kind of happened organically. I think we're just so excited about it, we can't keep it to ourselves. But I think initially, it was kind of going to be he document the process, make it happen, kind of show you how he's doing it, what he's putting in it, and then I imagine me having the thing completed here, showing it off with Dave. We'll do a show again like this, and he can talk about it, things I'm pointing to, and that more of an overview. And if you're interested in that overview, when we show it off, because when it's all done, I definitely want to show it off, and I'm going to run it too, and run it a few times, and I want it. I'm going to build a shelf just so I can have it around, like so. We'll do a couple videos on this thing, so Dave will have the deep dive into kind of really seeing how it's done, I think, and then more of an overview where we'll tag team collab like this, probably on my channel, and it'd be like a shout out deal. I'll be driving folks over to his channel to check out the deep dive if they want to see it really down and dirty get done. So it's just cool. What goes around comes around. Everybody helps each other out. Dave's been a hell of a supporter for so long. You guys don't know it, but before he had affiliate links, I never asked him to, but he was putting my links in his descriptions. I mean, just I didn't ask him, and
Yeah,
that's
and I'm
pretty
glad you
nice.
reminded me of that because I got to go back and change all those.
Oh man, don't no. So it doesn't work retroactive, man. It doesn't work retroactive. You got to leave them. No, man, it's totally cool. It's absolutely 100% cool. And Rabbit says that Tamiya sells drift tires.
Yep, they do. And Tamiya has a really nice shock set,
Oh man, let's do that.
which is like $80, but it comes with all four. And that's
Whatever.
on. They're for like the TT, like the touring chassis, but they'll fit on the M series chassis as well. And he was also saying like TQ Racing has a bunch of products, so I need to check them out as well.
Okay, Ken.
So yeah,
I'll fix it, Ken. Thanks.
we'll definitely take a look at TQ Racing and and Tamiya. The issue with the drift tires or the drift sets, because the wheels and tires kind of come together. Um, with the drift stuff anyway. I don't know if they're kind of molded in place or I know that the tires themselves are like a hard plastic, so they may be molded in place, but maybe not. They may just kind of slip on and you got to glue them in or whatever. But the Tamiya ones that I found so far don't look like they would look good with the paint scheme that we're doing, and as much as form and function obviously need to be there, but aesthetics is going to be a part of this too. It's got to look good. I mean, once the body's done and we have the body painted up and chromed out with the Spectrum logos and all the different things that we're doing, I mean the wheels have to look sharp, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Shilosky says you can get rubber ones from Traxxas too, like hard rubber ones. Maybe.
Right. And
Do you think they'll break loose if they're hard rubber? Probably.
well,
I mean, I do want to be able to drive it a little. I think if they're really hard plastic, I don't have a chance.
so here's what I'll tell you. And I'll send you the stock wheels and tires that are on it now. It drives okay, but just don't what I was doing. I didn't even really show it because I was only showing the parts where it was like sliding around. But if you drive it at like maybe 25% throttle, I mean, if you don't goose it, it'll go straight. And you can kind of rip it a little bit too. But because of the way the differential's set up with that lock differential, I mean, it's just going to go squarely on you. It's going to fishtail. So, I'll send you the tires that it comes with, but the drift tires, I mean, it's just going to slide all over the place. And the tires that it comes with are a nice compound. So you've got like that real soft grip compound, and I've actually got those on the front of the car right now, and the harder compound on the back. But if you put those soft compound tires on the back of the car, I think that it would have enough grip, where as long as you're not like, trying to turn it into a little rocket, you should be able to putt around.
Nice.
Nice. But as soon as you get into it, dude, it's going to power slide all over the place.
Well, that's kind of what we want, isn't it? I mean, it's
right.
Cool. I've never done it, but it does look cool. And again, I'm going to do it out, I'm planning on doing it outside. So Furball asks if we're going to install a drift gyro.
Hell no.
Nah, probably not. I'll just take my chances. Gravity RC has some nicer treaded tires. Nice. Says they hold up on asphalt. Gyro's cheating. Let's not start that one. That debate.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
With the receiver and ESC combo that we've got, I'm not. We probably could do a gyro if it's for steering only. If it has a throttle input, it wouldn't work because the throttle. There is no throttle, on that receiver that we're using. The receiver and the ESC are all built into one combo unit. So all that connection for the throttle, there's not even a throttle channel on the receiver portion of it. The channel 2 is gone. It's not there.
Wow.
Because it's all internal. So if it requires a throttle input, then it wouldn't work.
I'm good to try it the way it is too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that if you, it's obviously going to take some finesse, to figure out how to do the drifting part of it. But once you learn how to do it, I mean, this thing's got enough torque and to be able to get it done. Like this thing will. You saw the video, man. It'll go.
Yeah, yeah. I was pumped. I was like, yes. Oh, yeah. That thing looks zippy, dude. I mean, it turns on a. You can spin it around on a dime. I mean, I was thinking of Tron for a minute, like, like
Right.
90-degree whips.
Yeah, and what's cool about the that high tech servo, it's not super fast, but it's got it's fast enough that and it's torquey enough that you're going to be able to do anything with this thing. Now, what I'll tell you is, and you don't really have the experience with some of the other more like precise cars that are out there. Like I was saying, I mean um, my fleet of race cars back in the day were all like team associated RC10s. So all of the steering racks and I mean everything was put together, and you pay more for better engineering. I'll just say that, right? Um, so that $400 kit, everything is to much tighter tolerances. The way that the steering racks are set up are very precise, and there's no play, there's no slop in those models at all. And there's a lot of play in these, because I mean, just to be honest with you, the Tamiya kit is kind of a toy. I mean, it was made to be a toy. But they're their own class of car. It wasn't made to compete with those things. So,
Yeah, yeah. I'm good with that, man.
right. So you don't
If
need
it'll
it
spin
like
around a little bit,
super,
yeah, man, I'm good.
right. You don't need like super fast servos and the tightest tolerances on the planet. You're not like racing for world championships. And, at the time I wasn't either, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
So, so it's a different different breed of cars, but I truly enjoy the challenge of putting together these Tamiya kits and all RC car kits for that matter. But these are, I mean, they're a lot of fun. If you get one and you put it together on your own, you're really gonna like it. And Tamiya has a boatload of upgrade parts available for it. You can get like an adjustable ball differential. You can get the oil filled shocks. You can get
That's cool.
the ball bearing kits. I mean, you can buy all that stuff from Tamiya, and there's a lot of aftermarket, out there for these Tamiya kits too. So, you can take that $150 model and turn it into something special. So there are a lot of cool. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. And a lot of static.
Lot of good advice in here. Eric Quinn, I am still waiting on that Jeep. They tried to send it to me 4 times.
So,
Man,
yeah, Ryan O was asking if there's any RC car simulators. Yes, it's called Forza Motorsports on your Xbox, dude. I'm just kidding. So, not that I have seen nothing like the drone simulators or the airplane simulators like we see, for the aviation side. I haven't seen anything like that for surface RC. Um, it doesn't mean they're not out there. I haven't seen it. I haven't looked for it. But one of the things that's nice about cars and trucks and surface RC in general, I think one of the reasons that that aviation guys are so eager to pay the money for a simulator like Real Flight is because I'd rather spend $180 on a simulator and wreck a plane 400 times
yeah.
than buy a plane once and wreck it. Uh, you know, a $400 plane and put it in the dirt and come home with, you know, a $400 trash bag full of parts. Um, you don't really have the risk associated with the RC surface world. You know, you
Yeah.
can wreck the. I mean, and you know, I mean, Ryan will tell you, you can wreck the
Oh,
snot out of these things.
and a couple parts make them new again. I mean, I have done a lot of wrenching. So yeah, they came ready to run, but I've had them apart. I've changed chassis. I've changed every A arm. I've replaced diffs. You know, anything you can do on an Arma basher, I've done it so far, in just a short amount of time, and a few different ones and a few different styles. Right. So the 6S have metal chassis, where the 4S and 3S and 2S and brush stuff shares, you know, plastic chassis. So yeah, it's the pucker factor is different, and the only reason I'm breaking these things is because I'm trying to make them fly. I mean, I am Pilot Ryan, so the only reason I'm breaking these trucks is because I'm putting them in the air. Otherwise, you really very rarely, especially with my crawlers, like I'm not fixing them at all because they're, you know, I'm not jumping them. So it's cool. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right, yeah, and that's that. I think, like Ryan was saying, the pucker factor is a lot lower. You know, when you're talking surface RC, because you know, even if you like, just as an example.
I got an example too, man. As soon as you're done, this
So
big dog right here.
yeah, I mean, and Ryan's got other big trucks, but I mean, this, it's not a small truck. I mean, that's very close to my head, and you can. I mean, this is a big beast of a truck. It probably weighs 12 pounds, 10, 12 pounds. Um, and I took this thing and I like flew it off a retaining wall. And this thing was up in the air for probably like 20 feet. It lands on the ground sideways and goes into this crazy cartwheel action. It's probably still got like dirt, like caked into the wing back here, where the thing was just flying around and dirt. Like, I mean, there's like dirt falling on my keyboard. Um,
Yeah, man.
this thing was
I
like,
always clean them before I work on them.
oh, you have to. I'll have like entire trees coming out of that thing. So this thing is like cartwheeling, hits my wooden fence, and just keeps going. Like
Yeah.
the fence just shatters, and the truck just keeps going. So I mean, these things are durable as hell. They are not the same as airplanes, where airplanes are like super fragile. You wreck them and you're fixing them. This thing, I haven't had to fix nothing on it yet. Um, I mean, I've just beaten and beaten and beaten on it, and I've got new A arms. I was prepared to break it, so
You
I've
you
got.
need to be. You need to be, because if you actually do bash them and do more than just run it up and down the street, you are going to break something. You're going to eventually land bad and break something. Um, I've got a whole pegboard full of armor parts and RPM replacement parts and stuff over here, and for the Traxxas X Max. And I mean, the X Max is a big truck, kind of spendy. I landed real bad, and man, replaced two A arms. The
But
the
see you,
the
Jeff.
upper and lower, it's like less than $20. You're back in the game, and you didn't have to get out any hot glue at all. I want to answer this question. Craft
Yeah,
King,
man.
are there upgraded axles for the Gen 7, Ryan? I would say go to whatever, pilotryanmedia.com, hit Horizon, or go to Dave, hit Horizon, go look at the Red Cat Gen 7, you know, Scout, and click the parts tab. There was all kinds of bits to add on in the way of like some brass bits and things like that. But if you go to Red Cat Racing, you'll probably find more parts than they list at Horizon. So um, there probably are upgraded axles, because I was very impressed and pleased to see the brass bits and those kinds of things as add-on parts in the parts list on Horizon. So I know if you look elsewhere, you can find like upgraded bumpers and just all kinds of stuff if you're after it. I put different tires on mine already, um,
Yeah,
and
and
some metal shackles on the front already.
so that's the thing to keep in mind too, guys. If you didn't know, Horizon sells a lot more than just Horizon models, right?
Yeah,
So we have like the Horizon stable of models. So we've got like the E Flight, we've got the Hobby Zone, the Park Zone. Um, you've got their
FMS.
Blade stuff, FMS. Well, FMS would kind of be outside that era, but they are the U.S. distributor for FMS.
It's a featured brand though. Like it's
Right.
easy to find these brands,
Right. You've got your Arma, you've got Axial. Um, I already mentioned Blade. Um,
Lozi, I think
yeah,
associated.
Losi. Well, Losi is a Horizon owned brand now, but there's more to Horizon than just those things. So like Ryan was saying, they have FMS. They're carrying Team Associated stuff, Reedy Motors. They're carrying all the Red Cat stuff.
The
Uh,
RPM and Proline tires I got to upgrade my X
right.
Max came from them,
Right. So
from
Proline
Horizon.
parts. Yeah. So like Ryan was saying, I mean, they've got parts and they carry Dubro. They carry Robart. Um, I mean, they've got lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. They've got high tech. If you need high tech servos, you can get them from Horizon. Um, so all of that stuff is there. So if you're going to use like links and you need certain things or whatever, check them out, man. Horizon's got a lot more than just Horizon stuff.
I mean, my
It,
team associated Lucas Oil, diff fluid. They've got bearing oil. They got all kinds of stuff.
right, right, and they have forever. Sometimes you just got to search for it. Just take a shot in the dark. If you're looking for something
Yeah.
in particular, search for it and see if Horizon's got it. Because I mean, if it's something for hobby, they probably have it.
I'm gonna
And
end up needing to get those scissors for cutting bodies. Cutting bodies if I do my own kit.
so JCB, when I was racing two-wheel drive buggies, all dirt. I never did carpet because carpet wasn't really a thing back then. Um,
10K.
yep, and all of my buggies were RC10s. I never did the Losi thing, even though the Losi stuff was kind of made by the people that does it. By Yeah, like Gil Losi was one of the main brains behind the design of the RC10. So in theory, the original Losi JRX2 was better than the RC10, but the RC10 at that point was already established. So we're getting into some like geeky old RC history there.
Let's see. What Rabbit told me I should take a look at a couple low seas. What was that? That I gotta say I love RPM arms, and one thing I like about them on the Traxxas in particular is that you don't need to have right and left specific arms because they fit on all four corners, which is kind of neat. Even my Armas, when I go RPM, they can the RPM arms I have for my Armas. It doesn't matter if it's left or right, but it does matter if it's front or back. On this big old Traxxas, though, it doesn't matter front or back, left or right, which I think is just fantastic because what stinks is when you buy specific A arms all the way around and you break two in a row on the same one. Well, now you got three sets of extra A arms or whatever that can't help you. I actually have turned them upside down and modified them and messed with there's a droop screw sometimes and things like that that you got to figure out where it goes now. But what was that Lozy thing he was saying? Look at
Was it a
armored
was it a
trucks are
buggy or a
I
truck?
don't Lozy e buggy or truggy. They can fly high and fast. I tell you what, I love the Typhon from Arma, which is definitely a throwback to kind of like what truggies and buggies, 4-wheel drive, really low profile, flies wonderful. The tires are small enough that it's not really going to do a whole lot of backflips and stuff unless you really send it. By the way, I did, and now I'm waiting on a chassis to come back in stock because I really sent it. But I can't wait actually till that stuff's back in stock because I have the 3S Typhon, which is again Arma 1/10 scale 3S Typhon is only like $299. So it's actually a hell of a value. But I knew when I got it I was gonna wish I had the 6S one. So yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, that Italian actually looks pretty cool.
It
Ken
does look
Sprouse.
cool. Yeah. I love my Arma Creighton 6S is probably my favorite. And the X Max is definitely like of a special beast as well. But I think all and the 4S Creighton is amazing. And you and I both have dialed ours in with 5C radios instead of the stock radio. And so I think we're having a better time. But that
Oh
4S
yeah.
Creighton, if you're new to bashing, it's okay, get a 4S Creighton, but you better turn the speed down because that son of a gun is fast. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna break it.
So here's what I'll show you. The 4S Creighton, and this is why I kind of hate these ready to run models, right? All of these things, they used to come with tactic radios
Yes.
before the
2C
the
merger.
Horizon takeover, right? Now they come with these, and I don't normally talk bad about Spectrum stuff. I don't know
But
who the hell
it's kind
makes
of
this.
it's kind of not really Spectrum because
Yeah.
you can't. It doesn't have any of the protocols that are going to carry over. Now on the super high end trucks, I could be wrong. I know the big 8S Creighton and maybe the Mojave have a good enough system in there that you actually can bind it up to your 5C or 3, radio without having to upgrade
Yeah.
the receiver also.
Yep.
But
Yep.
all of the 6S and below Creightons, Outcast, Notorious, and everything else, it has that Spectrum 2C, which if you follow Surface, a lot of guys will disparage. I've had some that were fine and I'm still using, and I've had others that were like, the delay is crazy.
Right. So what I was going to say is this STX2 transmitter that comes with at least the Arma, and like Ryan was saying, like the 4S and 6S stuff, you pull the trigger on it, and I mean, if you guys aren't familiar with like surface transmitters, I mean, they're kind of like a pistol. They've got a little trigger that you pull, to accelerate, and you push it forward to apply the brake, and you've got like a steering wheel here on the side. This thing, I mean, it's super lightweight. It feels plasticky. It doesn't have like good grippy material on it anywhere. This is just a solid piece of plastic for the steering wheel. It's got a really, tough spring pull. The adjustments are very ho-hum. It's just not, and the response time, it's not DSMR compatible, which is like the Surface version of DSMX. So the receiver that comes with it isn't compatible with any of their nicer stuff.
Yeah.
So completely unlike the Air world where everything is DSMX, even the cheap ones. So if you get a cheap model and then you upgrade your radio, you can use your new radio with your old model. Not like that for these ready to run pieces of garbage. So this thing, that would be my first recommendation, is take this and throw it out, because the steering servo, grass grows faster than the steering servo responds.
Check it out. So I am saving all my leftover receivers and radios to probably decorate. I've got more to decorate a Christmas tree next season. So here's a couple of receivers I ripped out. There's more somewhere else. I've got a handful of those radios. And you know, I talked to Cogswell, what's his name?
Tom.
Tom. Let's just say
Yeah.
Tom. About those radios. And they know. So I'm hoping. So it would be I wouldn't mind those radios if you could also just bind your good radio to the stock receiver.
Right.
That
Right.
bind and drive on Arma would really make me happy.
Yeah.
But you know, then you got some ready run radios that are totally dope. My first Armas came from Hobby Zone, and they were still with the Tactic radios.
They were the Tactics, and they worked.
They were great until I completely waterlogged the receiver. But my Traxxas is fine with the stock radio.
Right.
You know what I mean? So some stuff is.
Yeah, so the first and really only upgrade that I've done on the Creighton was pull out the garbage receiver and garbage transmitter. I mean, I kept them because I don't throw anything away.
Well, for the Christmas tree.
Yeah. And I got a DX5C. This radio with a nice receiver was $150.
Yep.
You know, so it's, and here's where you know, kind of the surface world and the air world are really different. Obviously, one goes on surface and one flies through the air. But when we're talking transmitters and capabilities of transmitters, you know, in the air world, you know, for the cheapest transmitter, which, you know, let's, for the sake of simplicity, we'll talk Spectrum and say the DXE, right? The DXE is very limited, you know, and then you go to like the DX6E. Well, we all know that you kind of have to go with at least an 8-channel radio just to have enough channels to do anything. In the surface world, for the most part, you only need 2 channels unless you've got a special vehicle. Or unless you're running like AVC or something like that, which is active vehicle control or something like that.
Yes.
So if you're running AVC, you need 4 channels. But the beauty of Surface is like the 5-channel smart compatible transmitter, $100, dude. It's cheap.
Crazy. It's crazy. I got one too.
And they're awesome.
I couldn't believe it. Yep.
You know, and they were nowhere near that cheap back when I first started. Back when I first started, there were really, I mean, there were more than 2, but there were like 3 big name manufacturers of transmitters. You had Futaba, you had Airtronics, which was like Sanwa Airtronics, and you had JR Propo. Which JR eventually, you know, got bought out by what we know today as Spectrum. But, you know, back then, like the Airtronics and Futaba, I mean, they were the top of the pile. And the Futaba transmitters were really expensive for something basic, and it was all like crystals, you know, it was all AM, you know, 72 and 27 megahertz stuff. Or 75, and because 72 was air, 75 megahertz was surface, and 27 megahertz I think could be used either way. But the point is, like, that thing that can hold like 20 something models.
Yeah.
$100.
That's
dirt
crazy.
cheap. 5 channels, smart, capable. Fully proportioned. I mean, it's a great radio for $100.
And some guys are making some comments, and yeah, like, so for fans to cool things off, there are extra channels, you know, just that are providing power, and so you do have receivers. Like, even my 215 receiver has 3 or 4 ports in it, so I can plug in a fan if I need to. And then the TRX4, like, doesn't it have a 2-speed transmission, and you can lock and unlock diffs? on some of
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah, and some of
So
the axial models have that, where you
yeah.
can lock the diff up.
So Chuck asks if the 5 channel will work with the Red Cat. I don't know the protocol on the, and you have Chuck G. You already have what, the Windico or something, Red Cat truck. I'm just using my stock radio on the Red Cat, and it seems to be fine. Of course, I'm crawling with it, but I don't notice any trouble with it. And until it gives me trouble, I'm saving my Spectrum RXs for my bashers, because I can kind of handle a delay or a less than perfect situation a little bit more better if it's a
Mo
crawler.
better.
More better. But when I need brakes or I need gas in the air so I land right on a basher, I really do like it right here, right now. And it was night and day when I started putting the good stuff in my Armas. It was just amazing.
Hey, look there. It's Joseph
My,
Ramsey. Your pops is
hey,
in.
I know that guy. What's up, Dad?
Cool.
Yeah, man, we're talking surface a little bit. We kicked it off with some real good airplane talk.
We did. We did. And we kept that going for like the first hour, man. And then we just digressed.
And then and then here we go. But I don't know how many folks you have, but it seems like it's doing well.
We were riding high at about 70 for a while, and
That's great.
it dropped down to like 50 now, but 50 is still awesome.
It's super awesome. I did a little announcement, kind of, I hope got some folks here, but cool. Yeah, I just got here. Really, my dad, and probably a lot of you guys, it may be your father who got you started. Um, and Dad flew and did rockets and control line and all kinds of stuff as a young man. I never saw. And then, shoot, it wasn't 10, 12, 15 years ago. Dad bought a wing dragon, you know, pusher prop, 20, 72 megahertz brushed, you know what I mean? Gearbox, I think, situation. I don't remember, but pretty low key, foamy. And I was like, oh, what's that? Where did you get it? And I want to go to there. So then I looked at the same website, and of course I was some kind of cowboy who had to buy a P-47 because I'd seen one before. So I completely annihilated it. But Dad was always, we all went to the field together. I would kill my stuff in 5 seconds, and then Dad would have a high wing, more proper beginner plane, and we'd actually get to fly. So yeah, he flies too. He
Right.
really is why I got started, and then I went nuts. I mean, just ask him. Look at
Right.
me.
I think
I went nuts.
I think a lot of your problems existed long before RC.
Well, that's true. This gives me a perfect outlet. You know, imagine what I do without something to do.
Right?
Oh my gosh,
You'd be a dangerous man.
It was bad and expensive.
Right?
I mean,
And
it's still expensive, but it's
Yeah.
not bad.
Right. And, it's a lot less dangerous than becoming like the Unabomber.
Absolutely. Or like there were a couple bars in town that I really felt like charter members of, uh, I was paying the rent at the place, you know.
Right.
So that's kind of not sustainable. And it's just, after a while, it's not cute anymore when you're in a college town and you're still doing it. It's
Right.
like I should be the professor. Like, what am I? You know, it's time to change.
Yep. So, not really me. Thanks for coming by tonight. He says that he came because of your shout out on YouTube.
Sweet.
So thanks Ryan for driving the traffic, and thank
Yeah,
you,
man.
not really me, for coming out and hanging out with us. And that's cool. The Tamiya Hornet was my first model too, and I'll be 100% honest. I don't remember if my first one was the Grasshopper or the Hornet. They were they were so similar that I don't remember which one had the little 360 motor and which one came with the 540 stock. Um, but I know that those were my first two models. Were the Tamiya Grasshopper and the Tamiya Hornet. So cool models. But what I wanted to say, because I know that Guniak is going to be firing up his stream here.
Yeah.
See, and I used to be like, I don't know if I want anybody following me up or whatever. And not because I was spoiled, but because sometimes I would go like 2, 3, 4 hours. And
that's a shame. That's shameful. Nobody should ever go that long.
I know, right? But what I found is that having to cut it off because Guniak is coming on has been like a blessing.
I get it.
Like, hey, it's 2 hours, dude. Shut the hell up. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah, good show.
Yeah, that's what Kenny needs, dude. Kenny needs somebody on Thursday nights that has to come on at like 11.
He does have somebody to follow him on Thursday. You know who? The Morning.
Right. Yeah.
The Morning.
Kenny's follow-up show is Dave's RC.
Good
funny.
Times. Oh my gosh.
So, hey, listen, what I wanted to say is for all the F you, Kenny. For all the folks that are new to the channel, thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Be sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification icon so you're made aware when these new videos are coming out, because we've got a lot of really cool, neat stuff coming. We've still got a whole lot more left coming in the AR637T series. We've got more to come with with the Carmen Gia, but unfortunately,
can you put that up again right in front of the camera? Show my dad real fast.
Oh,
we're doing a completely custom kind of vintage retro kit, like completely modernized.
So check this out. I've actually got the body over the chassis, so you can kind of see, how it's gonna.
Carmen Gia. I'm gonna get one way or another.
Yep. So we've got the Carmen Gia body, and here's the chassis for the Carmen Gia that we're building up for Ryan. Hey, look, Mary Boozer.
Style.
Mary Boozer just got here, and
what's up, Boozer?
And we're wrapping up.
Fitting
what a loser! What a loser! Thanks for showing up on time, Wes.
So yeah, that looks cool, Dad. Me and him are working on a collaboration, and he's got a lot of experience putting those kits together, and he whipped it together in no time. But yeah, I can tell we're winding down, wrapping it up. Dave, I'm gonna plug myself real fast, and then you wrap it.
Yeah, man, do it.
I've been putting out content every day since Thursday. Don't miss it. And so don't only hit the notification bell, but turn it on, because there's 3 options after you hit that bell: all, personalized, or none. So do more than ring the bell. Turn on all. If you would like to see new content coming from your favorite channels, turn on those notifications and make sure you're subscribed. YouTube's been weird and goofy. I've seen guys subscribe in my notifications that I'm like, I know them. So I'm thinking, why are they haven't been subscribed this whole time? They're like always there. They're like, so just make sure you're subscribed to your buddies. Double check, you know what I mean? And turn on those notifications. And I'm going to see if I can't do content every day until I run out of steam. I've got a lot of it in the backlog, new stuff coming. Going to be working some truck stuff into the mix. But I just kind of want to see what YouTube does to me, putting it out every day. I've not done that. I usually just do a couple a week. So we'll see what happens.
Right. Now I'm looking for on my other thing. on my other screen. I'm trying to find. I thought that I had seen Guniac put a thing
link?
up earlier.
He said he was kind of cool with whatever it sounded like, but
No, I was gonna see if he had like a watch in 30 minutes. Guniac is coming, so I could link the show. But what I'm gonna do is just put up a link for Guniac's channel, and so go and subscribe to Guniac as well if you have not already. And I'll take a few minutes here to kind of ease us out of things. So, thank you to everybody for coming out tonight. It's been a lot of fun, Ryan. Go check out PilotRyanMedia.com for our buddy Ryan Ramsey. Pilot Ryan, as he has been affectionately known by all of us for so long, the King Rat. That hosts the RC Pilots Lounge every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't checked it out, be sure to go and subscribe to Pilot Ryan's channel too. But if you're here, I suspect you probably subscribe to him too. Again, everybody that's new, be sure to like the videos on the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification icon, and turn it on, just like Ryan was just saying, so you never miss anything new. Up here, right after my show, is going to be Ray Guniac from Guniac's RC EDF Creations. He does a great live show every Monday right after mine, and we'll do the quick rundown. On Tuesdays, we got Flight Club with Raven Rock Machine and Aviation and Jeff's Custom RC. They swap whose channel it's going to be on, and I don't know whose channel it's going to be on tomorrow, but make sure you check them out on Wednesday. But not this Wednesday, but most Wednesdays. Be sure you check out Ethan RC. He's the young pup, the up-and-comer of our hobby. So be sure to check him out. Then right after him, it's Hump Day RC with GB Linden, who's awesome. Thursdays, our man Kenny at Hangar 51 has the marathon show every Thursday. Friday nights, it's our man Dave's RC, who's awesome. Love you, Dave's RC. He's a little bit crazy, and sometimes, sometimes it looks like he ate
sometimes if you go to his live stream, you might get a contact buzz.
Right. Or he may interrupt the stream to call the bank, but it's all in good fun, man. We love the guy. He does awesome contests. He does more for this community than anybody, and he deserves your subscribe too. So make sure you subscribe to Dave's RC. Let's push him up over 1,000. Push me up over 1,000, because I'm also getting really close too. It's awesome.
A subscriber drag race. Which Dave is going to make it first, ladies and gentlemen?
I hope Dave's RC does, really. I hope he does, dude. He deserves it so much more than I do, just being honest. Saturday, we're right back with Pilot Ryan. On Sunday mornings,
you go to church.
Right. On Sunday mornings, go to church. But if you don't, Mike Keller is actually doing a show Sunday mornings now. So be sure to check him out. And make sure you're checking out the Merry Boozers on Sunday night. Now, I would be remiss if I did not include some of our bigger names in RC. And, Ryan, put your earmuffs on. Check out Motion RC's live show
what do I care?
Every Friday at noon. They're doing a live show. James is awesome. They're a lot of fun, and they're going through some great content and doing a lot of
built that city on
stuff.
rock and roll.
Right. And every Friday at 4:00 now, we've got, it used to be the Cody and Jason show. Unfortunately, Cody has left Horizon, and we're all sad and pouty. But Jason Merkel still has some great guests on Fridays. So be sure to check out Horizon Hobbies live show every Friday at 4:00. And that's kind of the rundown of everything. I mean, you almost need a TV guide, dude.
There's some a-hole has a show Saturday night. You got to go to and see what's going on.
Yeah, we let off with that because you're the guest, dude.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
I think it's show 95. Next Saturday.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Crazy. It's crazy.
So, listen, guys, we're gonna go ahead and take it offline, and we're gonna yield and submit to Guniac and allow him to take over the airwaves. I appreciate you guys coming by. Thanks for coming out tonight and watching. Thank you, Pilot Ryan, again for coming and being a guest on the show. It's been fun, and it's been real, but it hasn't been real fun.
My main man, I cannot stand.
Awesome. So listen, guys. Again, send a lot of love. Be sure to go and watch the video that I put up right before the stream tonight. It is the tribute to Captain Casey from the Canadian Snowbirds. Give that video some likes and some love. And again, God bless Captain Casey. God bless the Casey family. And if you ever see this, I am so sorry for your loss. That's all I got for tonight, folks. Thank you for coming by, and we will see you next Monday. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
I'm never ready for this part. See you guys.
Yeah.